There we go.
There we go. Sorry, my fault.
Well, welcome everyone. Welcome to the War Room. We are glad to have you join us, and please feel free to say hello in the chat. We'd love to say hello back to you and to start a good conversation with you. But before we do that, we want to welcome, of course, the two greatest men in wargaming at this time on Saturday, each and every week, Rough Swordsman and IDJester. Gentlemen, how are you doing?
I'm doing, it's not too bad. It's been sunny, cold, and now it's rainy and cold.
You almost started to sound like an American about ready. I'm good. You almost said I'm good.
I nearly did. And then I thought, no, not too bad. But yeah, apart from that, doing tickety boo. It's great. Played Tony last night.
You almost forgot this
stream. I know I've retired, but good grief. Playing a bit of
How much do you have to drink already?
Nothing. That's just old age. I'm just forgetting my name soon. So, yeah, I look in my jacket and it says, "Oh yeah, my name is Bespoke." So playing Men of Iron last night, had a great crew in the chat. Everybody had great fun. I annihilated poor old Tony's left wing, and we're going to continue that maybe later in the month, the end of the month, a quick one just to finish it off. And I've been playing all week. You may have seen the picky I put on Tack Up. Been playing the solitaire of this most of the week anyway.
Which that just blows. First, I mean, I know we mentioned in the green room, but it blows my mind that you were playing a game without actually filming it at the time.
Because when I film it,
in the game,
I know, because when I film it, it might go a bit easier and a little bit less sort of me having to put things in the thing. It's a simple enough game, and I just wanted to get au fait with it, enjoy the game, and then video it. So next week should be up, or at least I'll be starting to video it next week, and that's how I'm going to do it. So there'll be a little gap, but I'll try and put a picture up to let people know what I'm playing and practicing and all that sort of thing. So that's me. What about you, Jester?
Well, I didn't play Jack this week. I played a lot of Warframe, so I don't have time to do anything else. It's pretty much my whole life right now.
But I did understand you had a war game. You rolled poorly on a combat chart in real life when it comes to the wall of war games that you have.
Yeah. The wall of war games almost killed me. So
it happened. It finally happened, ladies and gents. It finally happened.
It finally happened. Yes, and I had to restack everything after the walls come tumbling down. So the walls are made to come down, my friends. Walls are made to come down.
Did you have to use a ladder?
Not in this situation. Those games are up there.
You're doing in New York
I would
City.
need a ladder for, but those are not the ones that came down. These are the ones that came down right there.
Oh, I see.
We didn't have full catastrophe here, just partial catastrophe.
Man. Well, I'm in a similar boat as you. I wasn't playing Warframe this week, but so I was working on my dissertation, so I wasn't able to really play any war games. I'm trying to decide, actually, right now. I have a little time. I'd like to play something, but I'm not quite sure what I want to play yet. So I'll have to make some decision at some point. But
well, What do you fancy playing? What do you fancy playing? What have you got queued up, so to speak?
You know, it's gonna
You
be
play some Warframe with me. I'll teach you how to play.
well. The one I was thinking about might shock you both. I was thinking about a solitaire game.
Solitaire game.
Excellent. Which one?
I thought about American Tank Ace.
Excellent.
Never played it. I have it.
Gregory
Haven't played
Smith.
it yet. I did Nordic. I did think about also GBOH. I did finally get the whole thing clipped and sorted this week. So we'll see. We shall see. But hey, Mike. But I do have.
Everybody's turning up now. It's great. If you're in the chat and you haven't said hello, say hello. Just makes more work for me. They take the mickey. But say hello if you haven't said hello.
Well, and of course, before I have something to mention for everyone here in the chat, and as well as for us that like to get the word out about something. But before then, lock and load, gentlemen.
Oh, lock and load. Yes, you beat me to it.
Lock and load. Here we go.
But
trying to drink a lot of water.
Nice Pinot Noir.
So this way, when we leave, because I have this nasty habit when we get ready to go on a trip of having some kind of medical condition happen. So I'm trying to drink lots of water so that I don't have any issues with my things.
Keep hydrated. You can't go wrong. Keep hydrated. Even me.
I'll be gone from the 17th of June to July 2nd. I won't be back till July 2nd. So you'll be going. I will miss two back-to-back shows. Yeah.
Wow. What will we do, Ruff?
Well, get somebody that maybe plays a war game on. I don't know.
Oh,
what do you think?
come on. I teed it up for you, and I was waiting for you to say, we're going to celebrate.
No, I didn't want to be too cruel.
Get somebody on that actually plays a game. There you go. Wow.
I was joking. You're sounding a bit down, Jester. I hope everything's okay. I know you got.
I'm fine. I'm great. I'm absolutely wonderful.
That's fine. That's all right.
No. I'm absolutely. I'm just chilling. I'm just having a good time.
He's a
There's
biker.
Cardboard Commander. See, he's going to be going from June 13th to July 8th. Woo! There you go. Mm-hmm. That's a big trip there too.
It is.
Summers are hard. Summers are hard. I mean, it was hard for Tony when he was on the show because summer, you got all your kids' activities, you got vacations, you got everything. So
yeah, well, that's why I said, playing on Friday with him is going to be on hold because it's that part of the year now where he does stuff and he's away. But we do plan to finish off the Men of Iron maybe at the end of June, a quick little one to finish it off. I won't take long to do that.
That's why when Nate decided to join us, me and Ruff had our little discussion. We're like, well, he's single. There's no way he's ever going to have a family, a wife, a kids, and everything. So, yeah, it sounds like...
I tell you what, no, just the quiet ones are the worst.
Quiet? You think I'm quiet?
Yeah. In that way, yes. So, it's just saying we're going to try and finish off Men of Iron, and then the next time we've scheduled, which is the correct way to say it, is July the 4th, and me and Tony are going to be playing Battles of the American Revolution to see if, a bit of a grudge match there, historically.
On July 4th.
Yeah.
Hey there, he's here.
Hey, Phoenix, how you doing, Phoenix Knight?
And Phoenix Knight's here, yeah. Ed's here, yeah.
So my summer plan, I'm working with some friends of mine. We're trying to decide dates on getting together we're going to be playing War and Peace. And we're hoping that the new 7th edition is supposed to be coming out relatively soon. We're hoping this summer, because if that does come, it includes French Revolution scenarios and maybe...
Yeah, that's probably right. And quiet ones are the worst. Yeah,
it has French Revolutionary scenarios and maybe French Revolutionary campaign that we're wanting to play. But if it doesn't come out, then I have the latest 6th edition, and we'll just play the grand campaign from 1805. But we're looking forward to that. But before I move forward, we do want to let everyone know what the topic is for today. This is a little unusual one. It's not like a top 10 or anything like that we've done a lot in the past. Instead, this is war games that you think need an egg timer or a chess clock for. Now, Ruff was insistent on using the word egg timer in the title. It's shorter. And I said chess clock, which is still the same number of words as egg timer. So
yeah, but it, egg timer, it's some games do have them where you turn the egg timer
that's
over.
true.
Some board games do have them.
That's true. But the idea for this topic was games that we think that need them in terms of the games themselves, that the game turn can take long, or for the people that we play it with. Of sometimes, I'm sure a lot of us, who knows, maybe all of us have played with someone who just cannot seem to make a decision. And when they do make a decision, you might as well go have dinner, go somewhere, go for a trip for a while, come back, and maybe they've just made a decision. And it just takes them forever. And something that to force a decision.
I mean, there's not what you can do about that, Nordic. If it takes a long time, it takes a long time. You can't egg time a setup, otherwise you might get...
That is true. That's true. I mean, in terms of the game itself. Now, some games you might think that an egg timer or a chess clock might be good to force a decision, in that it helps replicate sort of the chaos of battle and the chaos of war, in that commanders and generals don't have time to sit and strategize. They have to make a decision in the heat of battle. And it helps kind of force you into sort of simulating that when you're playing. Even if you're solo, even if you're playing solo, it can still...
You can give yourself a kick up the backside, can't you, with the old egg timer?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, absolutely. So,
and you can also...
Yes, Mike.
You can also do it that way with... Oh, I've got to get this game done tonight, so I've got to go. I can't be sitting here thinking about decisions, because I got to get this game done and put it away so that I can get another game out for tomorrow.
That's right.
So you might inadvertently give yourself a timer by going, okay, I've only got a couple hours, I better get it going.
That's right. That's right. Absolutely. So this will be fun to discuss later on in the show when we get to it. I have a number of games I thought about might be appropriate for it. In fact, I have one game where it actually mentions it in the rules of having a limited amount of time for each turn. So yeah, this should be fun. But before then, I do have something that I found out earlier this week that I know everyone who's been watching this show over the, I think it was last year when we had, let me share my screen real quick. Oops.
And yes, quite right, Gareth. Egg timers are much cheaper than chess clocks, which cost a few bob.
That is true. So let me share my screen. So we had the designer of the upcoming next game in the Knock Paris series from VUCA, 1916 Prelude to Blitzkrieg. And
he was living in Switzerland, wasn't he, if I recall?
I believe so, yeah. And we had great chat. It was wonderful chat, and sounds like a fascinating game. And I like the box cover a lot too.
It's in sync with Knock Paris, of course. You're that
Correct.
orangey, reddy, and whatever color that beige color. Yeah.
Now, my understanding is from reading on BGG that unfortunately this game is in hiatus at the moment. And the reason is that the designer has run out of playtesters.
Oh.
And he has asked for playtesters, and some people have volunteered, but they're not able to commit to playing the whole thing through.
It is a commitment being a playtester, isn't it? You have to put everything else to the side, even your own in playing game things. Well,
Yep.
we could ask on Tuck Up, couldn't we, Jester? See if we can get the crew going, get a couple off of that who are interested in having a go.
This is why I put it on here to if people are interested. He said specifically it had to do with the campaign, that he needed playtesters to check out the balance of the campaign.
So it's a long thing to do. Yeah.
Yep. So if people are interested, they can go and put it on BGG or whatever, or contact VUCA. Great. Yeah, I didn't see that. So thank you for mentioning that, Dave. So I should say, maybe not we, but me personally, I would like to see this game published, just because seeing something on the Romanian front of World War I, there's not a lot.
Get out of here, Paul. You always get one. Don't take it seriously, don't you? Sorry. Apologies, Nate. Apologies.
Oh, I'm done because you told me I'm a quiet one, so I'm not allowed to talk.
Oh, here we go. I mean, quiet in the social
I know.
world of yes.
Oh, of social media, definitely.
Yes. Oh,
nice, Nordic.
So who do we contact? Do we contact the designer directly or Patrick and co at VUCA?
I do not know. I did not see anything on BGG in terms of if you were interested, contact through here. But I would suggest either maybe sending the designer is on BGG. You could message the designer there, or you could email VUCA.
He's also on Facebook as well.
Correct. Yep. You can. There are lots of ways of getting in contact with them and saying,
I know when Herman came on the show, he was always saying that the hardest thing to do is to find some dedicated playtesters to playtest a game. And a lot of people will start and they'll play like the first turn or the second turn, and then they'll get bored and they'll move on to something else. Finding someone committed enough to play through the whole campaign, which is 8, 10, 20 turns, whatever it is very hard to find people that'll do that for you.
Absolutely.
Oh, hold on. We've got some more stuff here. I mean, nerd, pick your side for goodness sake.
You can do both. He might be
I'm joking. And Mike is quite right.
You're scaring off our viewers, Ruff.
No, never. Here we are. Patrick announced it today at SDS Con, and on VUCA's website, they mentioned they're looking for playtesters. So there we go.
That's
and you're
great.
right, Nerd. It is a commitment. Mm-hmm. I know you've done some for, is it Last 100 Yards? And
no, he did. Well, yeah, maybe. I think he did it for Fighting Formations.
Fighting Formations as well. Yeah, I'm pretty sure, Nerd, you did Last 100 as well, didn't you?
I mean, I've never playtested a game for anyone, but I can imagine it is a commitment. When you say I want to playtest, then you've got
to make notes as well, because if you find something, you've got to make notes to.
That's right. That's right.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, I was right. Yes, thank you. Yeah.
So it's not just playing the game; it's also taking note of
reviewing it. What's weak, what's strong, what doesn't work. What breaks the game, maybe.
Yep. Exactly. Yeah. And sometimes that's a good thing to do in playtesting is you want to find the weak spots. You want to break it to see what happens.
Yes, you want to try. I mean, a playtester's one of their primary aims is to try and break the game, I would have thought. So you can sort that out.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a commitment. It is a commitment, Mike. Yeah.
So, yeah, I wanted to put that out. So I guess VUCA has announced it today.
Get on the website. Go and contact Patrick. Yeah. If it's your thing. But bear in mind, it looks like it's going to be a long-term commitment for you to play the game. The campaign anyway. Yeah, so good.
Yeah.
Well done, Nate. Nice one.
Yeah. I mean, my goal, hopefully, this year, it's on my 10-game list, is I do want to play Knock Paris. And I would like to play, if I can, at least most of the campaign. Just because it's a fascinating game, and it's a beautiful game. I mean, Ruff, you played it. You played it opposed with Blue Tweezers.
Well, and there was 3 or 4 of us playing it. Playing different bits, different things. Yeah, it's a good game. It's big. It was my first monster game, so my brain was like, oh bloody hell! It's huge, and there's lots of stuff and tweezers and needed, and it's. Yeah, it is. It's good. Still waiting for Tweeze's railway video, though. Know what I mean?
Well,
Know what I mean?
You'll be waiting a while.
I know.
It's not just necessarily an exercise in patience. It is just no hope. It's not like what Herman's upcoming game, A Forlorn Hope. With his, it's just there is no hope.
No. And I mean, Christoph, if you want to do it, you're not trying to, you want to do it. It might be a good experience.
Mm-hmm. Oh, yeah.
Hi, Joe.
Yeah, I mean, I would volunteer myself. Unfortunately, I have a dissertation to write. So,
excuses.
That's right.
Man.
Exactly.
I'm not playing testing because I have no desire for that game whatsoever. So,
sure. Yeah, I mean, do you still have Knock Paris, or did you finally get rid of it?
No, I still have it. Still here, Nordic. Still here.
Oh, Nordic mentions that he tried Knock Paris. Pull that up.
Were they slippy? You're not going to say they're slippy counters.
No, I think I think I understand what. Oh, we sold it. I think I understand what he means.
There's a lot of stuff on there,
and a lot,
and the colors matter as well
mm-hmm.
because it's their uniform, color, and which can, for some of the French units who wore blue and red trousers, does make a difference because they were seen jumping over the. Oh, here they come in their red trousers. Look, so yeah, there is a lot. There is a lot.
I would be curious to know. I'd have to read a little bit more on the campaign. I know it happened in the Civil War. I
think one French regiment is the one that wore the blue and the red trousers, and I think they changed it pretty quickly though. After 1914, I think VUCA reissued one or two counter sheets that changed the palette of the colors slightly.
They did. They come in the box now.
Yeah.
And it's mentioned.
I think that's what it is. But yeah, there is a lot of stuff on them.
I know it happened in the U.S. Civil War where both sides, their uniforms looked similar enough to where they mistook one another. It's a fascinating game though. I do think it works well. I think it's a long game though.
I think you've got to also, like the First World War, you've got to know. I mean, the other thing about it is that the guy that designed Knock Paris is French, and I believe, and he uses French designations for the French, German designations for the Germans. So you've got to know. You have to keep looking. It's a bit like if you ever read the book Dune. Frank Herbert, and you look up and you look at the back, and there was an appendix of all the what the words mean. Benny Gesserit, what's this? It's a bit like that. There is at the back of the rule book, it lists what they are, if they're infantry or whatever, and where they are. Their sort of designations. So there's a little bit of that in it, which may put people.
One of those games where you basically could like almost you could play out the game while reading a book on it, and you kind of can do like a 1-to-1 kind of thing with it. I'm reading this and then this is happening in the game, and you can sort of kind of see it happen because how detailed the game is. But yeah, so we'll see. Hopefully 1916 stays alive and does get published. I haven't seen it pulled from their website. Yeah, good lighting for sure.
But we're going down the old Git avenue here. That's old geezers. Good lighting, magnifying glass, big counters. Yes, right. You young pups.
Oh, but so anything? I did forget to mention. I apologize. I did get something in this week. I was very happy to get.
Yes, so did I. I'll show you mine in a minute.
I decided to get this, upgrade my dice tray, my dice tower to a wooden one. Instead of, it was a plastic one that I had before, and now I got a wooden one. and it's kind of neat because it's got magnets on it, so it holds it in place, and then you can just.
Very nice. The only problem is they're a bit clacky if you use them for videoing.
Actually, I tested it. The sound
Okay?
Yeah, the sound is actually better. It was more muffled in this than it was in the plastic.
In the plastic, because of the vibrations.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, you can put a little bit of felt in there as well and keep things kind of muted. Where's mine? I don't know. It's around. It fell down. So I don't know where it is. Somewhere.
I've got my old faithful
really like
spawned a bit, but it does.
Yeah, I think I had the same one as you, Ruff, and I just didn't like the sound, so I went.
That's why I had to cover it with the.
Oh yeah, that's nice.
Yeah,
belts. Yeah,
nice. Oh, yeah. What I'd do for that? I'd kill for one of them, those wood ones. But I got some stuff.
Yeah, I bought that for $20 at Buckeye Game Fest about 10, 15, 20 years ago. And the guy, when I went back last year, I saw the guy. He had his own little booth there, and he was selling things. And I said, I still have your dice tower I bought from you all those years ago. I thought about buying another one that kind of, I'm like, what am I going to do with an extra dice tower? So.
Exactly. Once you get a good one, that's it. That's your dice tower. There's a chap that makes really beautiful wooden, and he'll customize them. Like if you want a Warfighter one, or if you want a certain game one, he'll put all the decals on it, or transfers, as we used to call them in Italy, in the lovely woods. But they're quite expensive, but they're lovely. But I've got some stuff, and I've got eventually turned up on my P500. Look.
Oh.
Look at that. It's a small little box. I'm hoping it's going to be in a similar vein. I don't think it is, because Tony said it's not like In the Shadows, because it's influenced by the design. The system designer is Mark Herman, so it's probably one of his games that Petiera has taken.
Is it in the same vein as the Fort Sumter games?
I think you're right. Yes, now you've mentioned it. Yes, Fort Sumter. I mean, there's the little map. I like them because they're sort of.
Hey, Herman's here.
Herman is here. Hello, Herman.
Herman. Yeah. So also got.
Very nice.
Sigler thing, and of course.
Have
King
that one as well.
Yeah. And the thing we'll be playing on July the 4th, I dare say. God, it weighs a ton. The second tri-pack. I love this system. I really do. I mean, if you look, it's only a 4. It's a nice, easy system. I don't think a lot of these are very solitaire because there's hidden stuff. Yeah.
That's got my favorite Revolutionary War battle, Monmouth.
Monmouth on that, yeah. I mean, thank goodness I didn't buy them all, because they're now putting them into tri-packs. So, yeah.
Great value for money.
They are, yeah. And they're all mounted maps. They're beautiful.
Oh, very nice. I always love a good mounted map.
Oh, you've got it as well. I mean, try In the Shadows. I know, get off a Warframe for 5 minutes and try In the Shadows solitaire and have a bit of fun with it. You'll get frustrated because them darn Germans keep capturing you. But yeah.
Well, I will see about that in about 6 or 8 years. Thanks.
Okay. So
now let me show you a game. I don't know when it's going to come out from GMT. I guess relatively soon. I think this year, but it's one of my more anticipated ones. Hubris, the Twilight of the Hellenistic World. This is the kingdoms that came after Alexander the Great, and sort of the fight between them, between the Diadochi, the successor kingdoms. But this has tremendously good artwork. I will say this. The box cover is interesting. Like, a guy, city's falling apart, and he's like crying about the city falling and destruction and everything. But it's ancients. and so it looks fascinating to me. So I'm hoping that it comes out sooner rather than later.
I mean, look at the difference, and I loved Roger's artwork, but look at the difference now. There's more, sort of there are no sort of restraints to the artwork. Look at that. Look, I mean, I've ordered it. It's got a quite high solitaire.
Yes, it does. Yep. So I'm very much looking for this one and Barbarossa Army Group North that I mentioned already. But
do you know what? They look great. The idea is fantastic, but I'm never going to play it. I tell you.
Never say never, Ruff. Never say never.
Never say never. No.
Just like I said, I would never ever play a tactical level game.
And I would never put a board game on your shelf too. So,
but I also said I'd never.
Well, that still hasn't happened.
Oh, all right.
I know. I'm just saying, sooner or later. If we just
nice. People said they got Hubris on their list too. Yeah. I'm looking forward to it. It looks like a really cool game.
The Nerd Workshop and his awesome. I mean, when we were getting together to play Wolfpack with Mike, he was showing it off ahead of time, and I'm like, my jaw like dropped to the ground. I can't believe how he's got everything in the box.
I don't know how he works it out and does all the math.
He works it out, and I don't know. And he's like, oh, I don't like this one because it doesn't stack them in this right dimension, and I'm going to have to redo this. I'm like, what are you talking about? It looks great. I'm like, you send your rejects to me, and I'll be happy. We'll
make them work. Yeah.
Yeah. Oh my God, they're great. They're awesome.
Oh.
Yeah, I thought Nordic would be interested in that. So I'm just working my way through. Oh, it's International Tabletop Game Day. Look at that.
It is. I did also want to mention for people. Oh, nice, Jonathan. That it was announced from GMT. I'll share my screen again.
Oh, hold on. Wow. Oh dear, I hope they've got a solo bot with it.
There is.
That's all right then. Phew. Right, I'll there we go. Oh, yes.
It was announced that Italy 43 that you can buy a mounted map in the 2-inch box for it, so to fit it all in. And so if you are interested in having a mounted map for Italy 43, better get it now because it's at
Italy 43. Will that fit in the 2-inch box with Italy 43?
I would assume so, since they're printing a different box for it.
It's not a folio game then? I think I've ordered it, but why a 2-inch box? Why not a 3-inch box and put everything in it? I don't know. Anyway, I don't know. What do I know?
Well, maybe because you only need a 2-inch box to have everything in it.
Maybe it's only a very small, because it's
I mean, I'll give you an example. Normandy 44 has a 3-inch.
It's only going to be one. Yeah, it's not.
Yeah,
going to be
it's
like
a pop-on
trifold. It's going to be like a
Salerno.
trifold, I think.
Pop-on to Salerno, isn't it? So yeah, and I got everything in that box and the mounted map as well, which is 2-inch. Yeah, I think.
Yep, I was able to get everything into the box for Salerno 43 with the mounted map. So this should be no different. But if people are interested in getting the mounted map for Italy 43, get it now because it is being printed.
The mounted maps tend to go, once they go, mounted map, bang, they tend to go quick. So
Dave, I was just mentioning that there's a ton of extra space in that 3-inch Normandy 44 box. So not even sure if the box needed.
Yeah, maybe, but it's nice. And Simon, yes, it's good.
Oh, I never tried it. I thought about buying the old carrier, the original.
Well, hold on, because Compass from Mike Berticelli told me a bit of inside information. I know it's imminent from Compass. Well, imminent might be 6 months, but it's on its way.
What's that?
Carrier, the original carrier.
Oh.
Which I was going to show you that I actually ended up.
Yeah, me too. Me too.
I will actually share my screen again. Man, I ended up getting this.
He's on a roll today, buddy.
Oh, yeah. I ended up earlier this week. I watched some videos of this new game coming out from Compass called Trench Raid. It's a solitaire game. and I watched some videos on it, and it looked fascinating. And I'm gonna get it. It looked really cool. Trench raid. You start in the British trench, and you get your men, and you get their different skills, and then they go out, and every single no man's land is different. Every time you go out into no man's land, it's different, and it creates an interesting story. So I like World War I. It sounds fascinating. I think it was, let's see, what was the price on it? $55. I'm in. I'm sold. So, yeah, totally forgot about that. I thought I'd mention it.
No, that's cool. Yeah, again,
put the link in the chat for everyone.
Sure, I will.
I would do it, but Ruff has banned me for.
Oh, for God's sake! You've pushed a button somewhere in the backyard.
I didn't push any buttons anywhere.
I
what
can't
are you
see
talking
any
about?
of your comments. I can't see you when we're playing live. If I'm hosting, it's crazy. I don't know what you've done.
You put it in the private chat, not the real chat.
I did because I can't put it in the regular chat. I need Ruff to put it in the regular chat.
That's all right. I'll do that. I mean,
I don't banned you too, huh?
Yeah.
No, I think it's because
both you and I know how much that he loves us so much.
Yes.
That
he spent a lot of time trying to fix this over the years, hasn't he?
Mm-hmm. Yep.
There you go.
When we all know, where would Ruff be if it wasn't for Gesture? Down the tubes.
Well, it's your opinion. Who knows? I'm feeling sorry for him at this point. Shall I say? I'm hanging around because I've got to be. I don't want to be in the death throes, but no.
Now I do have a question for Historic Wings, who's in the chat.
Yes, he is.
I'm interested. I am very interested to know. I'm hoping that his World War I airplane game will be coming out relatively soon because I look at it every once in a while. I'm like, oh, it looks really good. Looks really good.
Yeah.
So hopefully
it's probably intimate because Historic Wings, you notice he disappears for a month at a time. That means his game is about ready to be released because he's focused in on finishing it up. So I bet you it's coming soon.
And Koyi, yeah. I wanted to get the Combat Volume 3, but it was silly money to thingy. Wait for second chance. That's all I can say. And it's Compass, so it'll be there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Now, they are doing I know that Compass is doing a reprint of Fortress Europa with mounted maps. They're also doing End of Empire, which is all of, what is it? French and Indian War and American Revolutionary War, those with mounted maps. And they're also doing the Korean War game with mounted maps as well. Yeah, there we go. There you go, Jester. Just what Historic Wings, what you mentioned. Yep. I'm excited.
Yeah, you can always tell. It's.
He goes quiet, doesn't he? He goes quiet.
He goes quiet. You can't get hold of him. He doesn't email you. He doesn't post anything. Then okay, game must be almost done. Yep. Same thing with Herman. I text Herman every day, and then all of a sudden I'll go 2 weeks, and I won't hear from him, and I'll be like, "Oh, must be a game coming out."
Yeah, They go hermit, don't they? They go hermit.
Yes, they do. They don't talk to nobody. You don't have time for social media. You don't have any of that. You're focused.
Leave me alone. My game's coming out.
Absolutely.
Yep.
I think isn't Herman's newest game, the Chickamauga, isn't that out now, or is it coming out soon?
No, it's not out yet.
Not out yet. Okay.
No.
If Herman's
looking forward to his new Dunkirk game, must admit, from Legion.
Oh yeah.
He's got that one. He's got the Warfret Games game coming out. He's got He's got like 6, I think, in the cooker. So
Oh, there we go. There.
Always time. Yeah, unless you're taking unless you're taking the
no.
other half out
Yeah.
for dinner. Yes, we know what
Sure.
your loyalty's like. Yeah.
Sure.
Oh, that should be fun. Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh,
I'm
he
looking
said-
forward to
Lots
He
of chicken
rocket
nuggets
chicken
do any day. There you go.
it.
Very cool.
Very soon. Very soon.
Yeah, I think Ruff didn't. Was it no Jester? I think you played it. That Flying Pigs Relic War did not fund in Kickstarter.
I don't recall that one.
Do what?
You remember Relic War? I think you shared it on the show once that Flying Pig was doing a Kickstarter.
Oh, the Kickstarter.
Yeah.
of it,
Yeah. Yeah.
And it did not fund. So I think it's coming out. I think they're going to do it again next year.
Why do you think that is?
I don't know. I mean, for me, I'm not much of a fantasy board gamer. So.
Oh, it's a fantasy game. Well, I think you've got to
I'm
get
surprised because fantasy is very, very big, but
Yeah.
I don't know. Maybe they were asking too much for it. I don't know.
No idea. No idea.
Yeah. Well, they're trying again, so that's good.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. But yeah, $70. Okay, that's
It's pretty reasonable. That's
Yeah.
pretty reasonable. Maybe
too
people are just getting
Relic Wars.
sick of Kickstarter. I'm getting sick of Kickstarter.
Well, the thing is, I'm not doing any Kickstarter. The only Game Found Kickstarter, Game Found things I'm doing are for companies that are over this side of the pond, like Awakening Realms and that. I did do the last what do you call it, expansion for Eon's End, or the new one for Eon's End. I did that when it was all kicking off with the tariffs. I've paid for it, so it's just going to be like
That's the other thing. It funded right at the when the tariff thing was going around,
right at the end, and I was paying
like,
yeah,
I'm not going to get in this, and I have to pay like $500 to get it shipped to me, and
yeah.
I
was
scared
paying.
a lot of people.
I was paying monthly, so I was already 3 months in, and there was 1 month to go. So I thought, oh well, let's take a chance. But I won't do that. The other one I've got, hopefully, that will turn up is Hexplore It, the last one. See what happens there. But Awaken Realms, I'll back because they're in Poland, so they,
Yeah, I tend not to back Kickstarters or Game Founds if I'm pretty certain that it's like just not going to happen. Like it's a kind of almost like a Hail Mary kind of thing,
Yeah, it's got to be a company I've got confidence in as well.
Yeah. So like Sound of Drums, I backed the new Napoleonic what is it? Battle Commander, I think is the name, from Carl Paradis, that's coming out sometime soon, and the expansion for Europa Universalis that's coming out. So
yeah, thank you, Thomas. Please, we need all the help we can get. Smash that like button for poor old Ruff. Thank you, darlings.
now, of course, the dislike button works too, Ruff.
It doesn't matter, to be honest, but don't push it just because you're going to do it. Algorithmically wise, it doesn't matter because you're responding, but don't push it, for goodness sake. I get enough of that anyway.
And then, of course, you can always leave a comment too.
Yes, and if you're watching this in the future, remember you can just leave a comment to get the algorithm going. Just put replay family. Lots of people do it. It's great fun, and thank you.
Mm-hmm.
Great fun. Yes, they're all having great fun.
Oh yeah,
you miserable git.
Great fun. It will be great fun to type in replay.
Yeah, it's fun. Yeah.
Yes, you're right. I'm going to go through every one of your videos. That's going to be so
great.
Than playing Warframe.
You're getting too excited. Get out Warframe again. All right.
You should, Jester, go live and just type it in for the whole live show. Go to every video.
There you go. We'll go to all of his videos and type in, hey, everyone, replay family.
I'm having great fun typing great fun.
That sounds like a lot of fun to me.
So people, I think this should be interesting. Maybe this is a subject that we could do. I don't know, for another time, or we could talk about it now. But some people are having an interesting conversation in the chat in terms of the different pre-ordering systems for the different companies, and sort of which ones is the better ones and things like that, and which one do we prefer. Those are interesting topics, because there's always, the P500 that GMT does. Compass doesn't really put a game on pre-order unless it's nearly complete. I know that. Some companies like Phalanx funds things through GameFound first. They have, I think, prototypes and stuff done, but then they really get into production with the GameFounds. And I think Legion, they have a P500, right? But it's called differently.
Yeah, it's not called that, but it's you just sign up for their pre-order package thing, and then you get the game, and they just email you when it's getting ready to print. And if you don't, they will mail you a letter saying you pre-ordered this game and we have not heard from you yet. And then you throw that letter in the trash can, like I do.
Do you pay for it up front?
No. No. You pay for it when, kind of like GMT, where when they're getting ready to produce it, then that's when they charge everyone. Yeah.
Me, Andrew, and Mike, you're right. I have paid for games before, and thankfully they've come through, but I've had to wait a long time, and now they always do pay later. So I know a lot of people get confused of why Compass does Kickstarters for their games, or not all of them, but some of them. And I've always heard from their town halls that it's sort of a last marketing thing to push for the game to get it out there. That's why it's set so low. The limit to fund in Kickstarter is just a last call, and then people can get the game. It's already done. It's printed. It's ready to go. They're just doing a last minute. I think people get confused, thinking that, well, why are you doing a Kickstarter? And it's simply just to get the word out more.
Yeah, last minute push. Yeah,
I think they've already got the money, which is why this tariff thing hasn't affected them as much. They've already got the money in, and they're just putting it out, as you say, to get their orders in ready to ship and get that word out a bit more. Yeah, I think you're right there.
Right.
It's interesting because humans are, and this is like the subject is like if somebody says to me, "Oh, hey, you want some strawberries?" and the reason I choose this is because when I was younger, we had like a strawberry patch in our backyard, and during the summer we'd go out there and pick a bunch of strawberries, and we deliver them to the neighbors, and we charge them $3, right? A lot of people wouldn't order the strawberries, like they wouldn't, so we had like 2 or 3 families that ordered stuff, but we'd have like 30 or 40 of these little containers. So we would go house to house and say, "Hey, I'm selling strawberries." And all of a sudden people were like, "Oh yeah, I'll buy some of this. Oh yeah, I'll buy some of this." And we sold out like every year. And it's just like, people don't want to purchase them until you have it right there in front of their face. And that's why I think Kickstarter is so successful.
Right. Now, I do think Nordic does make an interesting point. Go up one more.
Well, I just want to say, do they have new cheaper international shipping? Because I'd have to check that out. Sark.
MMP? I don't know.
That's why I haven't ordered, because they wanted 90 quid to send something that costs 60 quid, so anyway, we'll have to check that out.
This is something that has happened to me a couple of times, and where they kind of charge them based on what comes in, is my understanding. And so,
tell me about it.
Yeah, your wallet can just get socked for so much. I remember it was the year that I got Barbarossa Army Group Center, Vietnam 1965 to 1975, Salerno 43, and Pacific War all at once.
Mm-hmm.
And it was massive. It was like, ugh.
Well, you remember Panzergate from me when they all came in at the same time. Yes.
Yeah, that's.
I'm not knocking it, but it was like,
I mean, people got to know, like, if I got like 40 pre-orders, they could all come in. Like, I can get 10 of them next month or whatever. If you don't want 10 games on pre-order, then don't pre-order them then.
That's right. And
well, you don't expect them all to come in at the same time. That's the thing. You learn as you go along. You learn as you go along because you think they're not going to dribble in, so maybe I shall hold back. You learn. I've learned anyway.
Yeah. The GMT's doing the same thing. Like, if they can print 5 games and fill up half a container, that's going to be a lot cheaper for them than doing one game at a time and coming back.
Or if they crash a ship, then that's another thing. That's why we had another big load come in because I had to get them out quick.
You get a when and dent discount that way.
Yeah. Well, that's where you keep an eye on the GMT newsletter every month and to see what's coming in, so you know. So
I'm just looking through. It's okay.
Yep, nerd. That's right. You get a notice when they're coming in, and you have time to cancel it.
You do. That's the good thing about GMT. You think, oh crikey, that's going to be expensive. I'll just have one of them.
Yep, absolutely.
Yeah, we all fall for it, Mike. We all go, oh, it'll be all right.
So I thought this might be a good time since we tend to enjoy our segments quite a bit, and they can go longer than anticipated. I thought we would start just a little bit early on our.
There's not much going on. History.
Coy will be like, oh, hey, I don't have anything to complain about this week. I don't have anything to complain about.
Not Coy. He's the one that keeps us on track when we need to be kept on track.
Yeah, and I preempted him.
Yeah.
You shut him down.
Ruff, I'm kind of, I don't know, I'm a little surprised because yesterday was D-Day, so this is D-Day +1.
Yeah, but I've got a thing for that because it was all happening at the time and I could have gone, oh yeah, Aramanche and all this, blah, 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 blah. But I've got something about that I recommend that you watch if you want a great thing to watch. Sit down, put your headphones on, get a glass or a cup of your favorite beverage and just enjoy because it goes on. It's a 4-hour.
I know which one it was. I was thinking about mentioning it myself.
Yeah, but I'm mentioning it first. So there we go.
Nerd, yes, we're going to put an egg timer specifically on Ruff.
No, you don't have to this time. There's not a lot going on. I mean, apart from yesterday.
Ruff, I believe you missed something last week, though.
I always do. I miss not turning up. That's what I do.
No, you missed a very important historical battle.
Was it American?
No, it was you. It was you guys over there.
What's that then?
The Battle of Jutland.
No, he talked about Jutland.
Yes.
I did not remember it.
That's how much you pay attention. You go off. You go off with the kettle on, don't you?
I have to pick up from Ruff. He talked about Jutland.
Yeah. All right.
I think you were going to get something to drink or something.
Yeah, you probably.
Yeah. Okay, that's good. Because I thought about it after the show. I thought, did he mention that? I don't think he mentioned it. And then, all right. So we get started on our segment. So I'll go first for Nate's notes.
Just say hello to Doug. Hi, Doug.
Hey, look at Doug. Look at his other comment. Yeah, look at that, huh?
I'm just going to ban him. Hold on. Don't encourage him, Doug.
Doug started playing because of me watching me play, and he's like, "Oh, that looks cool." So he started playing. We're gonna switch the war room into the war frame room.
Yeah, then I'd be out.
Yeah, same here. You'd have two new hosts.
That's all right. I can find subs.
Yeah.
So
I don't think you get 80 people watching though. Anyway, Nate, over to you.
So for Nate's notes today, as I'm sure both of you and everyone in the chat knows, I've mentioned before how much I'm very much interested in World War II espionage and spies and cryptology and all that went on during the war, and with the SAS, the SOE, the OSS, all the different or in the German the Abwehr, and all of the different secret organizations to undermine the enemy. And so for this week, I got a relatively new book in that I am very excited to get to at some point. I don't know when I'll get to it, maybe after dissertation, but this one is called The Secret War, Spies, Ciphers, and Guerrillas, 1939 to 1945, from Max Hastings. And he's a very good author. Very, very good author.
He does get a bit of stick, though, Max Hastings. He does, but, with his research and that. But he does write a good book. Yeah,
he does. And he's generally good. And so I'm excited. It's a little thick. Sorry.
That's why. See, that's my sort of book as well. I love all the secret. I was very disappointed. Sorry, I'll shut up in a minute. Very disappointed. My dad had a book. My dad had a book on the SOE, and he gave it to me, and it was. I thought, oh, great, but it was the driest book I've ever read. It should have been an exciting book about the formation of the SOE and their missions and that, but it was just terrible. If I can find it, I'll put it up to say, don't buy it. Buy another one. Buy that one.
Okay. Well, yeah, this one seems much more exciting.
Photos in there too. Looks like there's some photo pages.
Oh yes, there's a few of them actually in here.
Yeah, it looks like they got actual historic photos,
like Germans using the Enigma machine.
There you go. Nice.
Yeah, we sorted that out though, didn't we? Yes.
Like some of the spies that were involved. I love one of the stories of, I forgot the name of the manor in England where they there's a lot of them that they held all of the German prisoners of war, the higher ranked ones, generals, and just let them roam around the house and the grounds. But in the basement was all of the spies listening to what was going on. They had every room bugged. And when these German officers, thinking that everything's fine, that they can talk, they start discussing things amongst themselves of what they know, of what might be going on and what is happening, and plans they know. And they get a lot of intelligence from that. Fascinating story. But I also have, in addition to the book, I also want to share. That's right. Yep, they got
them. They let them roam around because they were officers. They treated them. You're officers. You can have the run of the place. And of course, they're all like this, and they have a few cognacs and yeah.
That's right. And so I wanted to share a video as well. If Ruff will let me share my screen.
Oh, so well, now you've said it, I've noticed it.
Oh, look at that! Bless his heart. So Epic History TV.
And your cotton socks.
Epic History TV, great YouTube channel, has a brand new documentary series on Ultra, the British agency at Bletchley Park to get secrets, and part one was released a day ago. So if people are interested, in addition to a great book on the secrets and espionage and all that of World War II, then there is a great YouTube series that is out and continuing to come out on that topic.
Well, let's hope it says that the Brits captured the Enigma machine, not like that film, where
U-571.
The Americans did it. Yeah,
Matthew McConaughey did it. Well, actually, it wasn't necessarily the British that decoded the Enigma. I mean, that started it. It was the Poles that started it.
Yes. So no countries beginning with A.
Yeah, and you notice that video had 30. It's only been out one day, and it has 34,000.
I know, it's crazy, isn't it?
Mm-hmm.
Like, holy crap!
Yeah.
That's
Oh,
pretty
yeah.
good. Yeah.
Now this is pretty cool. I didn't know Historic Wings. Did you put that up?
Oh yeah. I was just going to put that when you finished. Yeah, when you got your thing off. Yeah.
That's pretty cool. Oh, very much a breakthrough at that
Yeah.
time.
Yeah. And
I forgot
again,
how
the
many
film with what's his name?
Benedict Cumberbatch.
Bendy Dick Cumberbatch. Yeah, whatever his name is. Yes.
I've always wondered, okay, the Enigma machine, we've seen videos about how they had to decipher it and this, that, and the other thing, right? But Nate just showed a photograph of Germans in the field running the Enigma machine, right?
Yep.
So
Mhm.
why didn't they just grab one of these German soldiers, put a gun to his head, and say, "You tell us how it works, or we're going to blow your head off"?
Well, because they don't even know.
No, they're just told to punch this stuff in at the back. There's things at the back and plug
The
these
rotors.
things in and
Yep.
then change the rotors.
Yeah, but that would have given them a pretty good idea of how.
Not really. That's because they captured one and they started just fiddling around with them and
Yeah,
then
there's
looking.
so many. When you
looking for
select
common
a
Yeah.
when you select a key, it lights up a different letter on the Enigma, and so each combination of the rotors will give you a different letter when you type one in. So a soldier wouldn't know that.
Yeah.
They just type it in, and that's the message that comes up, and then they send it off. So they just know how to use the machine, but they don't know how it works.
Well, sure, I understand that, but I mean, I can take somebody like if I take somebody that's driving a car, right? Oh, hey, give me the explanation on how to drive a car. Oh, you put the key in, you got to turn the ignition on, you then shift it, and then you turn to go left, turn to go right.
But that's the
You can
same
explain
thing.
how that works on a Enigma machine.
But you do that every time you get in a car. It's the same procedure.
Yeah.
With this one, you push the letter T, you get a Z up. Next time you push the T, you get an A up.
Okay,
Yep.
so they can say you push this and a random letter is going to show up, and then you push that random letter and another random one's going to show up.
Yep, and that's what the British and others knew that already before the war. They knew how it generally worked. They didn't know the mathematical sort of like equation of when I press the letter T, what letter is going to come up.
Yeah.
And so that's where it took a lot of brain power and like computing power, because computers were used to figure out
the first, if you like,
different combinations that could happen.
Thing. Yeah.
And so to learn how to decode those.
It was an amazing thing, which actually shortened the war. They say a lot of things shorten the war. This will shorten the war. That actually shortened the war because they were still using it after it was broken.
Yep. And I mean, even obviously Enigma, the Germans used for, in the European theater, but in the Pacific theater, the Navajo Indians were part of breaking the Japanese code.
Yeah.
And I'm forgetting his name at the moment, but there's a particular man who was reading the Japanese codes and figured out that the Japanese were going to be moving against Midway and sent that off.
Have we seen the film? We've all seen the film.
And that's how they figured it out. I can't remember the guy's name, though. Maybe someone in the chat can put that in there before I'll find it in a book.
Well, I didn't mean to derail everything. I thought it was always interesting to hear about how difficult the Enigma machine is. Blah 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 blah.
It bloody was.
Yes, it was sure. It was mechanisms in there to do different things. But if they were changing the code every day, how are they sending out the new code every day? Like you never hear. How are they sending out the code? They weren't doing emails, right? How are they sending out the code every day if they were changing it every day?
They had motorcyclists delivering the thing to the person, and it was done. It was a one-on-one thing, wasn't it? Need to know. It wasn't broadcast to everybody with the Enigma machine. There wasn't a ton of them. There were, the Enigma machines were used to send messages to troops and things, or to commanders. Yeah.
I think there's more to it than people think, and that's what I'm thinking about. I bet you there's more to it than what
Now,
anywho, we'll move on.
I mean, what's interesting is, like, for instance, and I'm sure it will come up later in that Epic History series on Ultra, but like messages that the British had intercepted were sent also to the Soviets, but they were sent through a whole system of different spies and other people so that the Soviets never knew that it came directly from the British. And the real big one was that the British had decoded and found the exact day for the launch of Operation Citadel, or Kursk, the Battle of Kursk. And so the Russians knew exactly when the Germans were going to attack. Thank you. Yes, Joseph.
A couple.
Thank you.
You can rely on the chat, can't you?
Thank you, everyone. Yes, appreciate it. So it's fascinating that once the code's broken, then a lot of things, you can use that information a lot. It'll help you out. Now, of course, I mean, there are sometimes where you might know that an enemy is going to attack on a certain day, but still there's the battle to do, and you don't know necessarily how it's going to come out. You may know they're going to attack this day, but how strong is that attack going to be? And
it's like, I know if I'm going to get in a fight with somebody, oh, he's going to throw a left hand. Well, knowing he's going to throw a left hand and doing something about it is two different stories.
Yeah, you know he's going to do it, but you don't know when. But at least you know.
You don't know when. You don't know how hard. You don't know what. Are you going to deflect
but
it?
At least you know he can do it. That's I think that's the thing with
information is important. Yes, I'm not trying to put that down.
Oh no,
yeah. Anyways, Ruff.
That's Nate's notes for today.
Yeah,
that's great. No, great.
See, egg timer. Where's our egg timer when we need it? That's ridiculous. 25 minutes.
Shut the front door. All right.
It was good.
7th of June, 1329. Robert the Bruce, King of Scotland, died. He earned a place in Scottish history for his legendary victory over the English at Bannockburn in 1314. And if you want to relive that famous moment, it's in the tri-pack. Bannockburn.
Oh.
I do like to bring the games in if it works out like that. So Bannockburn is in there. 1776. Richard Henry Lee presents the Lee Resolution to the Continental Congress. The motion is seconded by John Adams and will lead to the United States Declaration of Independence. 1788, French Revolution, Day of the Tiles. Civilians in Grenoble toss roof tiles and various objects down upon royal troops. It was one of the first disturbances preceding the French Revolution, and is credited by a few historians as its start. And then we whiz forward to World War I, 1917. The Battle of Messines. Allied soldiers detonate a series of mines underneath German trenches at Messines Ridge, killing 10,000 German troops, and can be seen in the film The War Below. Came out in 2021, so check that out. 1942, the Battle of Midway ends in American victory, and the USS Thingamajig got sunk as well, I think, today.
The USS Yorktown?
Yes, Yorktown, yes. I didn't make a note of that. That got actually sunk the same day. And they found it, I think, in 1982, and it was they were amazed at how well preserved it was after sort of 50 odd years. 1942 as well, World War II, the Aleutian Islands campaign. Imperial Japanese soldiers begin occupying the American islands of Attu and Kiska in the Aleutian Islands off Alaska. And 2024, bit sad, the ROKAF, the Republic of Korea's Air Force, South Korean Air Force, retires the McDonnell Douglas F-4 Phantom II in 2024, still using that beautiful thing. And just to finish off, there is no mention of D-Day because it was yesterday, and things were happening all over the place, and it would be crazy to mention them. But Al Murray and James Holland. Al Murray is a British comedian, best known for his character, the pub landlord, and James Holland, they're well known. Al Murray is quite an authority on the Second World War. There is a 4-hour walk the battlefields of Normandy, remembering D-Day. Sorry, Nate.
James Holland is an actual World War II historian.
He's a proper, and James Murray is just a bloke who's a comedian, but he is an authority and goes around with James Holland talking about it. He's well known. And I've got the link here if you want to sit down. It's very good. It's quite there because Al Murray being a comedian as well, you do get a little bit of giggly with it. And they brew up at the end of every session, they brew up and actually explain some of the sort of thinking behind why the Brits brewed up their tea as a sort of morale thing. It was a break. You could go away and be quiet for a little while. Well, people like the Americans and the French, they brewed up their coffee, so it was it goes into all that. And it's quite funny them trying to light the things that set off the so there we go.
Now
it's 4 hours, so I'll watch it in bits, but it goes through all the landings. It goes through, they're walking up the beaches and they're walking behind and showing you what was going on, all the heroic moments and things like that. It's a fantastic documentary if you want to watch it, and I highly recommend it.
Now,
and there we go. That's today. That's it.
Now, something that you may or may not have seen, but earlier this week, it was confirmed that marine archaeologists found Captain Cook's ship.
I thought you were going to say Captain Kirk. Then I thought, what?
No, Captain Cook, the man who discovered Australia, New Zealand, and a bunch of other islands in the Pacific. English.
Where did he come from?
I'm sorry.
Where did he come from?
James Cook.
Yeah.
I mean, he's British.
Yes.
So, but the ship was confiscated, or as part of it was used as a transport ship for the American Revolution, and then it sunk off of Rhode Island, and it was finally discovered and confirmed that it was indeed the ship itself. So, yeah, thought I'd mention that too.
That's cool. I just think, where we are, the War Below. If that's of any use to you,
it's free to stream on Tubi TV.
Tubi TV. Also, what have we got here? Now, having said that, Christoph, Warfighter does have one of their battle packs that is called the Enigma, and it's
I'm glad you brought that comment up because there is actually a game called Enigma.
Oh, is it? Oh, didn't know that.
Beyond the Code. That's why I was looking for it while you were talking. And it's not like playing the Enigma and trying to figure things out. It's more, it's got some hidden cards and stuff. It is not exactly like it. It actually plays solo though. So if you're interested, you could try it out. But it's more of a deciphering game where you're trying to decipher what your opponent is. There's cards and then there's cards underneath, and you look at the card underneath, and then you can either put it back underneath the card that's on top or switch it with somebody else. So it's a little bit of a memory game. Doesn't have anything to do with Enigma, but since we were talking about it, I'm like, how many games are there on the Enigma? Yeah. So
well, let's say Warfighter, the battle pack, the Enigma is great. Very hard to do. You're going around trying to get on the sub and try and get that Enigma machine. So if you've got Warfighter, go and get the battle pack for that. It's crazily hard to do.
All right, Jester. So what's Jester's gems for today?
Jester's gem is, my gem is about yesterday, and it's about a game that we've talked about here on the channel quite a bit. And I know Ruff has even played this game. I believe he's played this game. and I think he really likes this game as well. I'm trying to share my screen here in a second.
Game.
But I think it's by a little designer we've known and stuff, and it is Crowbar.
Great game.
At Point to Hawk.
Yeah.
And I think this, I didn't even really realize how good this game was, or anything about it, because Crowbar, like, that just doesn't register to me as like, oh, that's a cool game. But it is a solitaire game where you're storming the beaches of Normandy, June 6th, 1944, and you're doing the Point to Hawk assault. And it's pretty cool.
Climb the cliff and
you have to get across the water first, and then get to the thing.
Water,
it's pretty cool. You have to bombard.
I actually got a copy here from my good buddy Viper Dave. I wish Viper Dave was in the chat right now.
It's a Herman Loopman game, so it's got to be good.
Yeah, it's a good one for sure, and I think it's a hidden gem because you don't hear about it a lot. And in fact, the reason I chose this game was because if you notice here, this is ranked 1042 Wargame. So if I would have said it's inside or outside the top 1,000 game of all time,
right, squeaky.
Would you have said it was inside or outside the top 1,000?
I wouldn't have put it anywhere because it's a war game, and Roots will beat it. But I've got it. I did do a playthrough of it on my channel. It's a cracking game.
Yeah, I thought you had played it. Yeah,
it's a bit like the American Civil War one that Herman did as well. Pickett's Charge.
In magnificent style.
Yes, magnificent style. It's a push your luck game. You're trying to get up. You have to get your boats, your sort of landing craft onto where the cliff is, and you've bombarded them to try and soften them up. Then you've got to get up that cliff, and then you've got to move forward.
Everything's different. You're randomizing setup.
Yeah, it's a great game.
I think it's a really cool hidden game, and because it's June 6th. I know yesterday was June 6th, but I thought
D-Day +1.
Yeah,
and we talk about a lot of D-Day games, Normandy 44. We talk about a lot of the big ones, Dark Summer, but when we talk about D-Day, we don't really talk about Crowbar. So I think technically it's a hidden gem. So that's my hidden gem for this week. By a little designer we've heard of. Give the guy a little bit of a break. He's just an up and coming guy. And
he does what he can when he can. He's doing he's doing okay. Yeah,
that's right. So that's my Jester's gem this week.
Yeah, good one.
And Enigma, breaking the code.
Very nice. So now we can begin our topic on war games that we think you need to use an egg timer or a chess clock or a stop clock or whatever with. So this is something, as I mentioned earlier in the show, that this could be games that we think that are needed in terms of having a limited window of time to make a decision in order to better simulate the sort of environment in which the game actually takes place, where a commander in that situation doesn't have time, or a lot of time, I should say, to make a decision. They're forced to make a decision in the heat of battle. And by using an egg timer or whatever, will kind of give you a sense of that as well, of forcing you to make a decision quickly and get kind of your skills up to make a quicker decision. Or could use a chess clock or a timer or whatever in order to help out another player that may need a little encouragement to finally make a decision and do their turn. So I'm sure all of us have had experience with both. So thought this would be interesting, a fun topic to go through on what games that we think that would fit this well. Well, Now, you know what? That actually is that's not bad. In fact, my father was a drill sergeant in the Army, so I could just have my dad yell at me.
Really? Wow.
Yeah, he was. Yeah, for a time he was. Yeah, he was a drill sergeant. So, Ruff,
Thank you. Yes, because that will count down a set amount of time on a chess timer, whereas an egg timer gives you that set amount of time every time. Thank you, Manatee. Thank you.
Oh my god.
All right, Ruff, give us a game.
Well, I haven't come across it. As I said to us in the green room, that no, I haven't. If we're playing a game,
wait to think about this.
No, because it hasn't happened. I can't make something up that hasn't happened. I could make do a story, do a Jack and Ori, but
well, Jester, you and I, it's just going to be us.
Yeah. But when I'm playing at PunchCon, as I said, and you're playing against someone and they're taking their time, because it's a convention, you can wander off, go and get a pint, you go and bump into somebody, talk to somebody, wander back, come back. Yeah, to go, yeah, and off you go. So I don't get it. I don't normally come across that because I don't play face to face except at possibly conventions or online. The only game that has that sort of built in is the one we were playing on Friday. This is that they have a timer on the track that will make one side get a move on, because if the other side passes without doing anything, and they're sort of the defenders, if you like, and your job is to attack, and you're faffing around trying to get things all in the right position before you attack, there's this thing going on in Men of Iron where if the other person passes without doing anything, it moves down on that track. And if they keep passing while you're faffing around and it gets to 0, you've lost the game. So there's a sort of timer in some of the scenarios on Men of Iron, which I think, and Tony was trying to use it on Friday, but I think a little too late, me old mate. Yeah, so that's the only time I've come across it.
Okay. I like it. I if you could put up Historic Wings, I like his suggestion. I like that. So if a designer wants to use that in a game, I think that's a good idea. So Jester, what's your first choice of a game?
Oh, my first choice is very, very simple. Like, there's one game that if you sat down with your opponent, and there's lots of little pieces and counters on this one, and you're like, trying to analyze what move to do, and you're moving units, and you're like, oh my God, just get a move on it. This game, of course, is ASL. It is such I would say the one biggest drawback that I've always had with ASL is not the rules. It's how long people take to take their freaking turns. People need to get a move on when they're playing ASL. They want to. The problem with ASL is you got these different stacks and you're constantly adding things up. Well, if I move this guy over here, then he'll go with the machine gun. That's a 4 unit +2 for the machine gun. And then I need a leader. And so I'm going to have to move the leader up there. Right. And they're calculating every single thing so they can get to the right column so they can do their most powerful attack. Yeah. And it drives me crazy. Like, just freaking move, man. Let's go. It takes the fun out of the game. And that's kind of the biggest drawback I have with ASL. It's just so long for everyone. And then the other thing is you're literally sitting there twiddling your thumbs while your opponent is taking an hour to move. And it's like, seriously?
And then when
it's the defender's turn.
There you go.
Yeah, it's very interesting.
There we go. I didn't see that. Put that back up, Rob.
Right.
Which included number of units on the board, number of turns, derive a total number of units for each side, and then using it. There you go. That's a beautiful suggestion. Absolutely. That must have been a house rule because I've never heard of anything.
No, that is obviously a house rule. Yeah, and I playing that. You mentioned that Cardboard Commander. Yeah, it's played it for the first time, and I was playing it for the first time. So I'm in an R and over which bloody card to play, aren't you? Yeah, yeah.
Well, that's mine, Nate. What about you, buddy? What do you got?
Could it? Both of you have experience with it. Could it be set of fighting formations as well?
Yes, absolutely.
I've not played it enough I can see where you're coming from with that, what you're trying to do. But no, I don't think that the only other one I can think of is maybe faffing around and thinking with Great Battles of the American Civil War. There's a lot going on and you've got to think of things to do. Again, I've not played it enough to play somebody that you go, get a move on, you know.
Yeah, Nerd says not really.
Yeah, I think so, because sometimes there's only one thing you can do. I'm doing that.
Depends. Yeah, I mean, any game could be. I mean, let's talk about this. Like, any game could be dragged out depending on your player and your play style. Like, True. If I play Combat Commander, when me and Cardboard Commander played Combat Commander, we had a great time. We both played very quickly. We did our things. But I played against some people in the tournament, and I did not have a good time because of other issues. But I can see that, you can get very frustrated waiting. When I was getting murdered by that guy that was very good, like he took his sweet ass time, and it was a little aggravating because it was like, what am I going to do? Like, you've analyzed every situation, and you know exactly how to defeat me. So
Yep. So my first choice, I'm sharing it for Ruff, is Memoir 44.
Really?
Mm-hmm. I played this a number of times. I think make a quick decision, and it keeps the game. I mean, the games don't last very long anyway, but having to be forced to make a decision quickly, I think, especially when you only have a limited number of cards. That you have to make a decision. Even if it's not the best decision, you have to make it a decision. And that's kind of, I think it will help simulate a little bit better of sort of the chaos of battle, that, crazy stuff's going on, have to do something, and just choose something and keep moving forward.
There is that, of course, there is that attitude, I'm playing a game. If the guy's taking a bit of time. Now, that I've not come across that. See, the one I play is Commands and Color Ancients with Tony and that. And 9 times out of 10, you don't get the card you want. So you just got to play something. So it doesn't, there's no real delay because you wanted to attack with this flank and you didn't get the card. So you got, I've got to use, I got to use that. So there's a little bit of a thought there, but there's no way that I've played that Tony's gone, come on.
So. I mean, I would throw, like, I put up Memoir, but I would throw any of the Commands and Colors games in there as well.
Yeah.
But Ruff,
do you have another one, or?
No, not really. The only other thing I can see is I can be put off by playing a game because I know it's going to just waste the day, like these monster games, like OCS or some of the big games that we're playing at PunchCon, and they you go and see them, in the morning, and they go, we're starting turn 1. Oh, right, okay. And you go back in the afternoon, they're going, yeah, we're just finishing turn 1, and you think, that's not enjoyable for me. I know people do enjoy it, the whole experience, but as you say, people go off, phone the wife, go and have a dinner, go and have a drink, sit and have a kip, whatever. That's not for me. I would tend to avoid games that did that.
Well, in light of your no game to mention, you can put up Nordic's question.
Let's have a look here. Oh, what, this one?
So how do you handle playing solo and taking a long time?
He's just taking the mickey. He's like, he always has a thing with his solo opponent. He always ends up having an argument.
But
I think that, or does he make it? You'll want to look at the serious point of it.
Despite it may or may not have been in jest, I do think it's something. He says he's being serious. So good. A lot of people in wargaming, a lot of people who I know who watch the show play their games solo. So I think this is something that it's worthy of answering, in that I think an egg timer or a chess, whatever, can be used when you're playing by yourself, again, to force yourself to make a decision, instead of, especially like a hex encounter game, like where you're trying to figure out, can this tank go and get to this spot that I need it to be, and let me test it out and see how many movement points. Like, that timer is just going to force you. He needs to move. He needs to get going, and I need to make a decision, and it will help keep the game moving. But then also it helps you out as the player, in that your decision making, the time to make a decision, actually gets better. It's a skill of being able to make quick and good decisions. So
I'm see. You haven't. I'm not being funny. You haven't played a lot of solo games. Solo gaming is completely different to playing face to face, in my opinion, in my experience.
Mm-hmm.
When you play a solo game, you're playing it because you want to. You don't care how long it takes. You're enjoying the moment, enjoying the narrative.
Sure.
And if it takes 4 hours to play a game that normally is finished in an hour and a half, so be it. Because at the end of the 4 hours, you've got up, done stuff, gone back to it. There's only you. I mean, trying to force the game along, trying to force a solo game along to make it flow quicker, in my opinion, is the antithesis of playing solitaire. Does that make sense?
It does.
Yeah.
It does. Jester, I think you have something. You look like you have something to say.
I was agreeing with Ruff, and
Blimey.
I think.
Oh, this is weird.
I always agree with you, Ruff.
I know you do. Deep down, you do.
I think when you talk about specific games, it's more along the lines of, okay, like any game can be played quick, any game can be played slow. It depends on what it is. But there are certain mechanics in the game. Like, for example, I will say this. Anytime you have things with movement points, how many times have you played with somebody that's like, okay, 1, 2, 3, 4. No, wait, we'll try it again. 1, 2. Okay, I'm going to go this way. 3, 4, 5, 6. And they spend 10 minutes trying to count out how far their little Jeep is going to move, right?
Right.
Which drives me crazy. You notice in the Seminits games, in the last 3 or 4 games in the series, he has movement where you can just move the unit 2 spaces, not have to care about terrain or units or anything. You could just move the unit 2 spaces, not having to count anything, which is supposed to speed the game along because people spend all day counting out. But with all that said, my next game I have on the list is kind of my biggest bugaboo, and I'm guilty of this, is when you're playing with a hand of cards. And the game I'm thinking of is Path of Glory.
Oh, right.
Glory, right? Where you have a hand of cards and you have to figure out which ones you're going to play for events, which one you're going to play for special operations, which ones you're going to be using for replacement points. And knowing that if I play this one for replacement points, I can't play another one for replacement points. So you have to kind of analyze, like, okay, I'm going to play this one for replacement points, then I'm going to have to play this one for the event. Then I can, and you're going to have, and it takes a long time to calculate all that out.
That is a long game. Yeah, it is a long game anyway. And if you're playing 2 players, yes, you've got to think. It's a game of chess, isn't it? You've got to think ahead.
Yeah, you've got to think about, and you're not even talking about, okay, now I'm going to use this for operations. Which units am I going to operate? Which ones am I going to activate so I can move them around? So it can take a long time. When you give players a lot of choice on one card, like, am I going to use this for events? Am I going to use this for operation points? And even a game like Flashpoint South China Sea, which is a very easy, but you got to decide about, okay, am I going to use this for the operations and I can remove his little piece or add my little piece, or I can use it for the event? It's a lot of decisions that you have to think about.
What about speed? Paths of Glory, using a clock or timer. I think a chess clock might be good. Would that work? Would that work?
Anytime you put something like that, I think it would be actually, in my opinion, I think it would be good because of what Nate said. We spend too much time as gamers coming up with the perfect situation for our units, and our commanders in the war didn't have that. Like, they didn't know where the enemies were. They didn't know what kind of terrain was over or across the hill sometimes, so they just made decisions and said, okay, you guys go over there, boom, done. And I think forcing yourself to make bad decisions is going to speed up the game. It's going to make it tougher, make it more interesting, because you're not analyzing and going, oh, okay, I'm going to fine tune everything. Just to give it a Warframe, like when I'm playing the Warframe game and I don't have my character decked out, the game is very hard. It's very challenging. I die. Bad things happen because my character's not fine-tuned, right? Mm-hmm. Same thing with board game. When you go into board gaming and you're just like, okay, I'm just going to move some units around. We're going to explore, and I'm under the pressure. I don't have time to calculate. Oh, no, I made a bad move. I shouldn't have moved that. I shouldn't have done this. That's what real life was like. That was what the commanders had. So I think that would actually help.
Even in to go off what you said there, Jester, even something like, for instance, in a game like France 40, or any game that covers the France 40 campaign, that in real life, that the Germans, when they cut through the French lines at Sedan to cross the Meuse River, they were stuck there for several days trying to figure out, how do we get through this? It wasn't like they just sliced through and all of a sudden, boom, it was over. They were stuck for about 10 days. And while the French are also, and the British are trying to figure out, how do we contain them? And the Germans are trying to decide, how do we get through? And at some point you gotta, like, those are kind of points where, in a game like that, where you need to make a decision in order to keep going. You need to get through, and it helps you get in the mind of the commander at the time. What was he thinking?
So you're saying that there's no, like in a war game, you can see what's going on, you can see all the units, you can see the terrain, but in real life, when that battle was fought, there was a lot of fog of war. So you took chances, you did this. So maybe, I can see where you're coming from, maybe speeding up the game, you'll make some maybe not quite as good decisions, but they're probably the decisions you would make on the battlefield, and you keep your fingers crossed and hope for the best. Yeah, it's a good point. It's a good point.
I think possibly it could also help in making games that are less solitaire friendly a tad bit more solitaire friendly, in that while you have hidden information or whatever, but you still see the other player's hand, card hands or whatever, you don't have perfect memory of every single deck and every single hand.
And if you've got that stress, for want of a better word, of a time going on, you're going to make mistakes. You forgot, oh crap, I forgot you had that, or that card. Yeah. I'm not sure though it would work for everything, because again, it would distract from some players from the pleasure of playing solitaire, where that's a leisurely, could be a leisurely thing, But I get what you're saying. It could be
that you need to do this every game.
Look at Coy says, I'm not going to be interested in doing it that way, and that's great.
Fair enough. Fair point.
No problem at all. We're just giving people things to think about.
This is it. It's everybody's opinion, and everybody's got one. It's great, and none of them are correct. None of them are wrong.
I like the quote that Historic Wings put on there from Patton. Good plan violently executed now is better than a perfect plan next week.
Yes.
Yeah, I agree. And that's kind of what I was thinking, is like, force the player to just do something now, whether it's right or wrong. And like I said, it could make a game that's very easy and much more difficult because you're making bad moves. You're not optimizing your units.
Yep.
I know, like, one of the downsides with Combat Commander, I love that game, right?
Mhm.
Is like when we were given our assignments, like the player that was doing the attack could literally set up all of his units in the perfect position and have them like calculated out, what's line of sight. And hey, Viper Dave, how you doing? Calculated line of sight, and I need to move this unit here, I need to move these guys here, and get it all figured out ahead of time, which again is irrationally not the way it was done in real life. And so I know we're simulating what had happened with the game, and it's supposed to be a game, but still it kind of can take it took the fun out of it for me for Combat Commander when I got destroyed by a guy who just literally came in and just mowed everything I had down because he had calculated out. And you could see it, like he knew exactly what he was doing, where to move his units. And I'm like, I'm just sitting here watching you because congratulations,
watching
you won the
just
game.
Tear me apart.
Right.
Having said that, the game I'm playing at the moment, this In the Shadows, has made me think that it's an easy game, but it's like not a puzzle, but you're sitting there thinking, now, what shall I do? Now, I've got these cards. Now, what's the best thing? Maybe a timer on that would make you be a bit impetuous and make a decision, and it's either going to work out wonderfully or you start the game again. So something to think about. It's
I have I'm sharing it for you, Ruff, so you can put up a.
I was waiting for you to say. So ready there.
Yeah, that's why I just put it up there in the queue for you. So this game, speaking of,
I'll be back in a sec. Hold on, keep going.
Oh, okay, so Jester and I can now have a proper conversation.
Absolutely.
So as you mentioned Paths of Glory from Ted Racer, I was actually going to mention this one, 1914 Glory's End and When Eagles Fight from Ted Racer. It actually mentions specifically in the rule book about each player should take and it mentions, I think it was like 8 minutes per turn on doing all of your moves and everything. And you only have, I think it was like 15 or 20 seconds to decide, am I going to fight here or am I not? And you have to make a decision. And I like that.
I like that too. Yeah, I do like that. I'm glad you brought up this subject because I think it's a interesting discussion. Maybe not about specific games, but about how games can be designed better to have force players to do things without a timer. We're just using an egg timer as kind of a
catch-all.
Force yourself to be done with the game by one night. I know myself. I usually, like, if the game box says 2 to 4 hours, it usually takes me 6 to 8 hours. Why is that? Why is it taking me twice as long to play the game? Is it the game box is wrong, or am I playing it wrong? Right? How many of us play the game within the allowed time? Right?
Hey, welcome back, Ruff. We missed you.
Yeah, I heard you did. Yeah.
I knew you'd heard it. That's why I mentioned it.
No, these game times on the back it's like rule books, and you have this thing where, they're written by people who know the game backwards and they assume what they're talking about. It's not everybody, but in some instances. It's the same with the time on the back. They're assuming you've played it for 6 months non-stop.
Right.
And
you played it 10 times and it's going to take you 2.5 hours to play it.
Yeah.
And the first 6 times we play it, it takes us 12 hours and we're like, what the hell? It just happens all the time. And I don't know if it's because I'm like analyzing and calculating and, trying to figure things out.
I think you're just a normal human being that's playing the game for the first, second, or even third time, and you're having to look things up. You're stopping, you're thinking, how does this rule go?
That's part of my thinking around with an egg time, a limited amount of time to make a decision is that it, not like I mentioned, forces you to make a decision, but it also kind of brings out in that it is important to make bad decisions to then learn how to make better decisions instead of trying to figure out what is the perfect decision. You have to make a decision, and it may be bad, but that's okay. So you come back and you're more informed, and you're more you're wiser, so to speak, and you can play the game better, and you can then make better decisions. And I think I have done this myself, even when I'm playing by myself or a solitaire game where I'm trying to, like, what is it? Instead of counting cards, like in gambling or whatever, I'm factor counting.
But there is a game that does that, isn't there? I'm in the Koyi camp, So, but there's that. What's that game? That's the insurrection game, the famous one before Coin came out. It was Twilight. Is it
Twilight Struggle?
Twilight Struggle. You count cards. If you play in the game, you know the cards. You're counting the cards.
Sure. I mentioned. I was thinking something like more like the Simonich games or the Dark series, where you're trying to get a number of factors to get the 2-to-1 odds, 3-to-1 odds, 4-to-1 odds, whatever, and you're trying to do all this math, trying to get the right amount for the attack, when in real life they don't really know that. The commanders don't know that. That's why I kind of like some games that use the like, for instance, Fall Blau and Kharkov battles from Compass, where it's a variable combat, where you have to pull a chit when you go into combat, and it tells you what it is. So you don't know until you go into combat.
6 months on my 15 minutes to 6 months. There you go. Duration.
But that's the thing you're saying about the games where you get people, some players will not attack until they get that fantastic, odds ratio. When I play, I go, take a chance. Come on, I only need a double 6. Come on, that's it, or whatever. I'll take the chance, and because it's fun, and it could work out, and then you're off.
Sure.
Yep, it's true. Use the timer to keep moving. They get new partners supposed to be fun. I understand some people would not want to be under the pressure of having to make a decision, and they want to enjoy the game, and that's not enjoyable for them, is being like, they want to spend the time on it. They want to spend an hour calculating odds out so they get the perfect attack, and that's fine. That's fine.
Somebody else's enjoyment is taking time and enjoying the game and analyzing, and that's some people. And if you play somebody
that's
like
a solo player for you right there.
Yeah.
You'll find these are solo players. The people that care about what they want to do is the solo player.
And if you're playing somebody like that, you either say, I can't play with you anymore, or you accept that's what they want. That's how they're getting their pleasure out of it. And you can either reciprocate and be a great human being and let them get on with it, or you can tell them to go find somebody else. But yeah, solo players, with analysis paralysis. But that's part of the fun for me.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, all we're doing in here is we just want to bring it to think about. And
we're chewing the fat and bouncing ideas around, and the chat's
and
bouncing.
The other thing is, it doesn't have to be an egg timer. Like if you put I talked about it. Like if you put a game on the table and you say this game has got to be done tonight, that's you putting a timer on it. So if you're like, hey, I've got to get this game done tonight. Yep. If it takes you 2, 3, 4 hours, whatever, you got to get it done. You're still putting a timer on it, though.
You're saying, I've got to go. We're going on holiday tomorrow. I've got to be up early. I'm going to play this game. I've got 2 hours. Right. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yep, absolutely. And it will, whether you know it or not, it will force you to make quicker decisions, because I have this limited amount of time and I want to get through as much of the game as I can. So I'm going to just make a decision and move.
People, I think, are afraid. And I played with Viper Dave, and he's the local guy. He played with me. We played Wingspan. I taught him how to play Wingspan. And I know he was always afraid to make a bad move, as Ruff talked about. Sometimes or maybe it was Nate. Sometimes you just need to make a bad move so you can learn how to make good moves. Like
Mhm.
you learn from your mistakes, people.
Yeah.
So maybe take, even if you're not sure what to do something and then learn from your mistakes.
Yep.
That's me. That's what's his name? What's the chap from that I always do that just goes for it? The American guy from Warcraft or something. Somebody put it in the chat. That's what I do, because that's part of the fun for me, and if it doesn't work out, hey ho, it doesn't work out.
Sure. I mean, we all have I'm guilty of this too, so I'm not just speaking out there in the ether, is that when I play a game, like I want to win the game. I want to do well, but a lot of times, I should say most
That's
of the
man.
time,
That's the man.
Leroy Jenkins.
That's me.
A lot of times it is important, as you mentioned, Jester, to fail first, to make a bad choice, to get crushed, and you come back better, as opposed to, if I keep winning and winning and winning, may not actually learn anything. Might not learn to actually be a good player.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And I hate to keep going back to Warframe because y'all are like, shut up about Warframe, but it's real life too. Like when I play Warframe, right? And I go in and I'm going through a mission and it's very simple and easy. And I'm not even concentrating. I'm just going through the motions, right? And then I'll end up dying later because I'm bored. I'm not doing anything. I'm not activating all the buttons. I'm just kind of running around, just shooting things.
Mm-hmm.
When I go in a tough mission, I'm like focused, laser focused. I'm ready to go. And I'm actively engaged. I'm doing things. It makes it so much more engaging that way.
Mm-hmm. I mean, I'll give you an example. Like a lot of these timers, things that force you to make a decision are really good, especially if you're in like a tournament like at a con, and there's this limited amount of window and you have to play this game to get through. I'm thinking of, I'm sure people in the chat have seen, I don't know if either of you have seen, where there's a picture of Mark Herman at a convention playing 7 different games of Empire at the Sun at the same time with 7 different people. And he's going from game to game to game. And obviously it's his game, so he knows it inside and out. But still, he's forced to make a decision with the cards that he has to keep it moving, to keep the game going. And, the other people, they're taking, I'm sure, a lot longer.
They get Mark up. He plays his card, then he walk out and they go, right, I've got 10 minutes now. So,
yeah, absolutely. And
but you know why?
But Mark was so good. I mean,
he's a chess player. He does that for chess as well.
But he knows that game. He knows how to be a good player and what to do.
He's just running the AI. That's all he was doing. He's just running the AI.
And the thing is, if there were 2 Mark Hermans playing each other, would it be fun? Because it'd be bang, 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 do, bang, bang. It wouldn't be fun. I don't think.
Well, we got to start to wind things up already.
Oh,
yeah.
5 minutes left. So, gentlemen, what is on the horizon? Jester, what's going to be coming up on your channel?
Surprise, more Warframe and probably some more Warframe after that. Probably another 6 or 8 hours.
Well, at least it's got the word war in it.
Yeah, at least it's got war in it. And there's cards, so
I thought for sure you would be going at some point doing a live stream, going on Ruff's every one of his videos and doing fun.
That's more fun for sure. And then we're actually getting ready for our trip. We've got to get some stuff ready. We're trying to when you leave Florida to go to Iceland and Greenland and things, you got to think about cold weather. You got to think about rain gear. I don't have any warm weather stuff here. This is what I wear. I wear like t-shirts with short sleeves, man. All year long, that's what I wear, and shorts.
You're going to have to take an extra 2 lots of suitcases for you and Mrs. Jester to put your pullovers in and your big thick coats and boots.
Yeah. So we've been laying things out. So I will be here 2 more weeks. No, Well, next week will be my last week. Yes, next week will be my last week.
And I'll come back to you in a second, Jester. I got a question for you. But Ruff, what's coming up on your channel this upcoming week?
Well, as I mentioned before, I'm hoping to get In the Shadows in the can, get that done, and then I'm going to think about what I'm doing next. And that's, I think it's going to be the English Civil War game, Cruel Necessity. I want to get that. That's on my list. I know Brian keeps asking me to do A Glorious Chance. That's in the thing, but that's a crunchy little game. I want to make sure I'm in the mood for that. Again, both solitaire games.
Okay. All right. For me, I'm still trying to make a decision. I mentioned earlier I'm thinking about American 10 Case, but we shall see. I'll have to maybe set a timer and make a decision and pick a game. But Jester, I know for everyone here in the chat and everyone that's watching that next week it will be on your channel. Do you have an idea of what our topic will be for next week?
I've got something in my head, but I'm not ready to announce it yet.
Okay. So we will wait with bated breath.
Think and see. Yeah, I got a couple ideas that we were just talking about, kind of expanding on. So
okay, very, very cool. Oh, nice. It looks interesting.
You'll be best.
The American 10 Case, in fact, is my first and only Greg Smith game that I own. So I don't have the Hunters or the Hunted or any of those others. So this will be an interesting experience.
If you like the fact that the game is going to take over and you're just going to go along for the ride, yeah, sure, then you'll enjoy it. If you think, I can't make a decision, there's a few decisions, but basically you're on rails and you just go along for the ride and for the narrative. If you appreciate that and accept that, you'll have great fun.
Okay.
Yeah. All right. Thanks everyone for showing up this week. We do appreciate it.
Yeah, thank you everyone.
If you haven't already, hit that. There's a button down below. It's like right there, actually, right there. It says like on it. If you hit that button, the Ruff sends out candy to you. Yes.
Virtual candy, but sent with love. And also, if you're watching in the future, I don't care what these two comedians say. If you put something in the chat, if you can't think of anything, put Replay Family, because the algorithm tickles and it helps the channel get out there a bit more. The War Room, get out there in the big wide world of the internet. If you click the like button and put a comment as well, does really help get the War Room out there.
That's right. Well, we thank you everyone for coming out and joining us today and chatting with us here in the chat with the show. So this has been a lot of fun. I wasn't expecting how this topic would go, but it turned out to be a really good.
It turned out to be, again, as always, multifaceted.
Mm-hmm. I enjoy that. I enjoy topics where we can think a little bit more about our games and how we can play and be better players. So we thank everyone for coming out, and we hope you all have a great week, and we will see you next week on the War Room on Jester's channel.
Yeah. Thanks, everyone. And as always, we love you, and there is nothing you can do about it. Thanks, everyone, for watching.
Bye-bye, everybody.
Bye.